Get ready for a color review and an entire color palette from me to you. This, of course, is Color Quickie, where we take a deep dive into a color that's requested by one of my subscribers / channel members. Thank you guys. And then I try to break it down as best as I can, both on a technical level and a practical one as well. In this video, you're gonna learn all about coconut ice and how to best use it in your next home project. What is there to expect about this color? What kind of lightness score does it get? Is it dark? Is it kind of dark? Is it kind of light? Let's find out right now. Now, I'm not surprised that coconut ice was recommended by one of my viewers because it is one of the warm neutrals in their color palette. It's probably one of those colors that the representative at Home Depot will recommend quite often because a lot of people like it. It's sort of an easygoing, warmer neutral, a little bit of a brownie kind of vibe too, but it's also brightened up with some beige. Of course, there's also going to be some gray added in, so you could almost describe it as a warmer grayish. Really, it's kind of vague and ambiguous, all things considered. I can already tell that this is one of those colors that can maybe look a little more beige in some circumstances, and then way less beige and more browny gray in others. It's a color that doesn't really jump out at you. So if you're looking for something really fun and dynamic, this isn't the color for you necessarily, but what it does do is it hides in the background. So it is one of those canvas colors, those neutrals that just sort of chill, don't really do much. They're just there to support whatever else you have in your home. It becomes a backdrop for nice art pieces and decor and cool furniture. And if you're thinking of using it on your walls as one of your main colors, which I would recommend for a lot of people, try and avoid furniture and accessories that are this color as well. Otherwise, it'll just be too kind of blah, like sort of porridge on oatmeal. Maybe not the best look. Coconut ice walls do best when there's other more dynamic colors within the space to really give it some texture visually. All this chatter and we haven't talked about the LRV. So the light reflectance value will tell us exactly how light or dark this color is based on the percentage of light that it reflects from 0 to 100. And coconut ice, it scores a 67 out of 100 on the lightness score. And I find that to be a pretty good spot because it's not going to be too dark in a lot of situations. It's clear that it's a color. It's not going to feel washed out. How about some other colors that go with it? Because we started with coconut ice, I kind of wanted to warm things up a little bit. I don't know if that's correct. Espresso Martini is the next color. I guess you can have a warm espresso martini, but that's not typically how it's served. So the ice theme continues. And also the neutral theme continues because this is a much darker color comparatively speaking, but it has a lot of similarities where it is desaturated, has some gray in it, but it's mainly about brown and a warmer leaning brown, I would say. Almost a tan leaning brown. This is a pretty easy pairing for coconut ice because I sort of see them as light and dark counterparts, not identical in terms of color, like the base hue, but they do share some gray, some brown, and maybe a little bit of warmth, warm beige or warm tan. So you can use this as a secondary color in other rooms. You can also use it as an accent wall color for coconut ice, or you can kind of flip them and have 3 dark walls and 1 light wall because that's different. Different's good. The next color pairing is a lighter color, and this one has a very different hue, H-U-E. Some may call it gray. I call it a light, cool gray. It's evening white. And this gives you an alternative to the sort of brown themed colors from before. It's clearly a more blue-leaning, cooler, icy gray with a 70 LRV, which makes it the lightest color we've talked about so far. That means it's going to feel a bit more buoyant and airy, kind of like my shirt, sort of that lightness aspect, especially when you put darker stuff against a lighter wall. You'll have some nice contrast there, so that gives you another option. And also, there are some circumstances where evening white can sometimes show a little bit of green as well. But anyway you slice it, this is a literally cooler leaning alternative that's in the neutral family, that's also lighter, so you have a little more added versatility. If you want less versatility and therefore more fun in this case, Brooklyn is the next color pairing you need to look at because it's extremely dense as a color. A blue dominant color with some green added in as well. Kind of like the dark version of evening white, but like way darker. This one has an LRV around 13, which is extremely rich. You will definitely notice how dark it is when you use it. But I love this color because it's sort of navy blue meets forest green in a really, really beautiful way. I love both those colors. So to see them join forces for once, I'm all for that. Wonderful accent room color. So one room that you really want to make a statement, this would be great on the walls. Also a fine bedroom color because I love darker bedrooms. So I really feel like I'm in my own personal sleep-in cavern, but I never get to sleep in. Next, let's talk trim colors. So what are you gonna use on your baseboards and your frames and all that? I have two options for you. The first one is Polar Bear, which is one of my favorite just go-to white paint colors by Behr Paint. It has just the right amount of warmth without making it feel too creamy and yellow leaning, but it's also not completely crisp and stark, yet it still feels clean. Just a great choice overall. And then an alternative choice, if you want something that's more of an off-white, my second favorite white probably is Cameo White, because it has an 81 LRV, so 9 points darker than Polar Bear, but what it does give you is that added richness, that little bit of a taupey feel, a little bit of brown, a little bit of gray, which works beautifully with these neutrals that we've talked about. And it can also double as a lighter wall color. Using an off-white instead of a bright white on your walls, it probably will only take 2 or 3 coats versus 4 or 5. So you're welcome. Here's the palette all together, a bit of a warm and cool theme, hot and cold a la Katy Perry. She sings that, right? And here's another color palette for you. Don't you just love it?